Hello dear students. So how are you? I'm back again with your new science chapter, that is the living organisms, characteristic and habitat. So this is another science chapter for your class 6th, and let's see what we are going to discuss in this chapter. So here we have the introduction, organisms and the surrounding where they live. Then we'll discuss about their habitat and adaptation, and finally a journey through different habitat. So let's start with this chapter. So when we talk about the chapter that is organisms, living organisms, let me ask you, if I ask you an organism and if it is living, that means in nature, what type of organism you observe, you see. Let us see first of all a clip, and this is a clip or this is a picture of a beach. You can see trees, you can see water, you can see this aquatic life. So let us see another clip, and here you can see the picture of mountain. So here we can see water body, water falling, clouds, you can see mountains, greenery, the persons are moving. This is the image of a desert. When we talk about desert, means very less rainfall, sandy soil, high temperature, and yes, this is one of the very common animal that we can see generally in desert, camel. Yes. So let's move further, and now we can see two different animals. Yes, they are animals that have fur or wool on their body. So it shows that it seems that they live somewhere in very cold region. Yes, they live in the polar region, and they have this fur on their body to make them warm. So this is mountain goat and yak. So these are certain animals that we generally observe or find in polar region. Let's move further. So you can see in this image that there are some person, rather I should call the fishermen, and they are standing near the water body and try to catch some fishes. Let's move further, and here crab, that is one of the organism that is found near beaches, and you can see at your home, near your surroundings, some good plants you can see at very cold climate, and you can see the shape of these plants is conical, and this conical shape is found where we are having very high rainfall or snowfall. So this type of adaptation we'll discuss in this chapter. Let's move further. Coconut tree. Where do we find coconut tree generally? Near beaches, near water bodies. And we have the cactus tree. You can see the cactus, some spines coming out from the stem of this cactus, and they are generally found in desert area. So what are these? These are basically the organism that we generally go through. These are the living things, and we observe that there is huge variety of organism that we go through in our daily life. Like suppose if I ask you, do you find any type of organism at your home? Yes, you are sitting in your room, and can you find any specific organism at your home? Mosquito, ant, yes, lizard, sometimes cockroaches. So yes, these types of organisms we generally go through, even they are present in our home also. So when we talk about the living organisms, we know that different organisms live at different places, and we may have organisms in air like birds, like insects. We can find organisms in desert like rodents, like a camel. We can find animals in water like fishes, octopus, squid. Then we can find different animals in soil also. And you know number of examples. Even I talk about the big animals starting from lion, tiger, elephant, or I can talk about the pet animals or dog or cat, even cow, buffalo. So these are the animals or organisms that we generally go through and across with them. So what is the difference? Are they all same? No. They have different shape, they have different habitat, they have different food habits. So all these are different. So in this chapter, we'll discuss about the organisms and their surroundings where they live. So generally, when we talk about the organisms, they live, that we call as habitat. So we have seen different organisms, and you know different animals and different type of plants, they live in different environment conditions. So now we are going to discuss habitat and adaptation. So when we talk about habitat, if I ask you what habitat is, if I ask you what is the habitat of fish, you say yes, it lives in water, so that aquatic life or the water body is the habitat of fish. If I ask you what is the habitat of yours, you live in house, so that is your habitat. So basically what habitat is some dwelling place where you live. So it is the natural home or the environment where an organism live, where an organism get food, water, air, shelter and so many things. So basically I should say habitat is nothing but a natural home or the environment where we live. For example, forest. Forest is the habitat of a huge number of animals. Can you tell me what type of animals live in forest? Yes, we may have lion, tiger, giraffe, zebra, we may have monkeys also. So different animals live in forest, and thus forest is the habitat of such animals. Now, we'll talk about ocean. If I ask you, ocean is a habitat, is it? Yes. So for what type of organisms? In ocean, in water bodies, in ponds, in lakes, we generally find fishes, we find crabs, starfish, whale, seaweed. All these are examples where the ocean or the water body is the habitat. Let's move further. If I ask you, is desert a habitat? Yes, desert is a habitat for desert animals. Even it is habitat for desert plants. So if I say cactus, yes, desert is the habitat for cactus. If I talk about camel or some rodents or snake, desert is the habitat for such desert animals. Now, let us move further and we'll discuss different organisms live in different environment. So now let us talk about habitat. So if I ask you what habitat is, I should say habitat is basically a natural home or the environment where an animal live, where an animal gets some food, air, water, etc. That means habitat is nothing but a natural home or the environment. If I ask you what is your habitat, then your habitat is your home where actually you live. If I ask you, can forest be a habitat? Yes, forest is also habitat, and it is habitat for huge number of animals. Like in forest we generally see lion, tiger, leopard, jackal, giraffe, zebra, even monkeys. So there are so many examples, and all these are having a same habitat, that is forest, because they used to live in forest. Let us move. If I ask you, ocean is a habitat of what? So what organisms live in ocean? What type of organisms live in water bodies, ponds, lakes? So they are, yes, fishes, octopus, starfish, crabs, even whale, dolphin, seaweed. So ocean is habitat of all these animals or organisms. Next, if I ask you where the camel live, that means what is the habitat of camel? So habitat of camel is desert, exactly. Even some desert plants like cactus, they also have the same habitat, that is desert. So now you come to know what habitat is. Habitat is basically some dwelling place or natural home where actually we live, where actually an organism live, and it finds the nutrition, and it finds food, shelter, water, air, everything from that habitat. So I hope habitat is clear to you all. Let us move to another part, and I'll talk about adaptation, because habitat and adaptation, they go side by side. So I have explained you what habitat is. Habitat means where a person live, an organism live, can get number of things from there. So let us move to the adaptation part. So if I ask you what adaptation is, so basically I should say adaptation first of all is different for different organism, which depends on number of factors, may it be natural, may it be climatic, may it be synthetic or artificial. So let us discuss what adaptation is. So basically when we talk about adaptation, I should say different organisms when live in different environment, they have different features, they have different habit. So an organism try to fit in that habitat, in that condition, so that it can survive easily. So adaptation is basically there are certain features that organism changes itself so that it can survive well in that atmosphere or environment. So let us talk about adaptation in some cases. So first we'll discuss about the adaptation in camel. So here you can see the picture of camel, and we all know that it is a desert animal. We call it as the ship of desert also, and there are number of adaptations that we generally observe in camels so that it can survive very well in that desert environment, in that sandy soil, in that dry environment where no rainfall is there, where lack of water is there. So you all know what are the conditions of desert. So the very important thing is the amount of water or the availability of water is very less, and thus camel has various adaptations. Like first, it has large and wide feet. What will happen? If it has large feet, so that it can walk easily and comfortably on sand. Second thing is it has bushy eyelashes. The eyelashes are very bushy, so that during sandstorm, or since desert is there, so only sand and sand and sand is available. So during sandstorm, when large amount of sand is there, so these bushy eyelashes prevent sand particles to enter into the eye. Let us move and see another adaptation that is found in the case of camel. You can see the nostrils, and nostrils, eyebrows, ears. We can see they are covered or very small, so that doesn't allow the sand particles to enter into it. There is a hump. Can you see this upper portion? This is hump. This hump is used to store fat, so that whenever it require energy, the fat get dissolved and provide energy to camel. And since the amount of water is very less, so in the case of camel, less sweating or almost no sweating is observed, which causes less lack of water, and at the same time it excretes small amount of urine that also controls the amount of water in the body of camel. So these are the adaptations that makes camel to survive in desert area very easily. So let us discuss about the adaptation in fishes. Here you can see the picture of fish. The very first thing and the very important thing is it has a streamlined body. Streamlined body means taper at both the ends, so that it can observe less resistance and can easily move or swim in water. So very important adaptation in the case of fishes is that they have streamlined body. Second thing is, since they live in water, so for respiration they have gills. So gills help fishes to respire and take oxygen, dissolved oxygen from water. So for respiration they have gills. At the same time they have fins and tails. They are responsible for the movement, for swimming, to balance the body and to change the direction. They have slippery scale also, so that they get protected easily and can move easily. They have to get protect from any predator, so that they can be there and live and get adapted easily. So these are certain adaptations that we generally observe in the case of fish.
To watch the complete video, download the Upbind educational app from Play Store and App Store.